Hey, this is David and
Anne-Marie Miller.
and we're to help you get real estate smart. All right, so every year in November, the National Association of Realtors surveys thousands and thousands of buyers and sellers out there, and they ask them a ton of questions. And then they come back and get this data, and then they pass it out to all the states. So we have some stats here, 4 pages worth, that we're going to go over with you.
It's very exciting.
Now we're going to go over a couple, but we're going to touch about a couple of them that we thought might be important to you. But these are for Florida buyers and sellers for the year 2017.
Yep.
So I'm going to use my eyes here because I'm blind. So the first one is that in Florida, 22% of all first-time home, or of all buyers are first-time home buyers. And if you compare that to the nation, nationally it's 34%.
Yeah.
So we're pretty low in the state of Florida, which is a little surprising. I'll tell you that overall, first-time home buyers used to be around 42%. So now they're 34% nationally, and in Florida they're down to 22%.
Yep.
Why is that the case?
Well, I think people are a lot older when they come here, so they're not first-time home buyers anymore. So it's more geared towards the seniors. I mean, look at this beautiful weather. I mean, obviously they want to come down to retire and be in the good old state of Florida.
Absolutely, absolutely, and I agree with that. I think that a lot of the folks, this is a state where a lot of seniors like to come and retire because of the weather, as Anne-Marie said, and because of
Minus
that,
the hurricanes.
minus the hurricanes, and because of that, it sort of pushes that number lower than it is. Now, if we take a look at the actual average buyer's age in Florida, just the buyer in general, not first-time home buyer, is 54 years old, and the median income of that particular buyer is around $83,000.
Yeah. Well, that kind of goes towards the same thought process in that, you know, I mean, you're looking at a 54, you're looking at people downsizing. So my guess is that a lot of people from, you know, out of the state come down here to retire. So that could have to do with it a lot.
Yeah, so that affects that number as well as the 22%. Something else that was interesting is that 15% of homeowners purchase multi-generational homes. So what is a multi-generational home? That is a home that has like an in-law suite.
Yeah.
So I don't know what the stats were last year, but I would say that those are larger than before, because as our parents continue to get older, there comes a time where they cannot live in their current house.
Right.
And they need to either go into an assisted living community, or they need to move in with the adult children.
Right.
So,
And I think a lot of the buyers that I'm seeing this happen to, that's exactly what they want to do. They want to buy something with an in-law suite to where they can keep an eye on their parents and make sure that they have the best care possible, which is them.
absolutely, absolutely. So that's a little surprising. And that goes right into home buyers. 21% bought a senior-related home. So there's a lot of 55-plus communities in our area, especially up in Lady Lake. You got the Villages up there. If you've ever been up there, I think it's consistently been the fastest-growing area of Florida, mainly because of that. They have many different lifestyles. You can live up there. But I think that factors right into that senior piece
Well,
of
and
it.
have you been to some of them? I mean, they're absolutely phenomenal with all different types of activities. I mean, I get that. I understand that.
Make sure you have a golf cart.
Yeah, that's right.
Absolutely.
That's right.
Absolutely. A couple other things we'll share with you. Out of home buyers, 83% of folks that purchased a home in Orlando used a realtor. Now, I
Should
think
be.
that's a little low.
Yeah, that should be higher.
Because
That should be higher.
a lot of
Absolutely.
people may not know this here, but when you use a realtor to purchase a property, it doesn't cost you anything, right? I mean, there's no commission you're paying, because that
Right.
commission is paid by the seller.
The seller.
So,
You got to get the most bang for your buck. I mean, it's like, you know, going for a brain surgery and having somebody else pay for it. I mean, you know, getting the best doctor, getting the best representation for no cost.
absolutely, absolutely. And then if we switch it over to the seller side, a seller in the state of Florida typically has lived in their home for about 11 years. So that's a little bit higher. I remember when we first
7.
started back in the 06 and 07, when people were using their house as a bank account,
Yeah.
people were moving very quickly. So obviously the market took a turn for the worse, and now it's going back up again. So I think that's really pushed that out to about 11 years. From a selling perspective, 90% of people use realtors to sell their house. That might surprise people, but it makes total sense. If you look at the stats, when folks try to sell their house on their own, they typically sell for 10 to 15% less, mainly because they can't get the same type of exposure. And when you're selling anything in life, the more exposure you can bring to that product, the more demand you're going to create, and the more demand you create, the higher the price is going to sell for.
Yeah.
So anyways, those are just a couple of the 4 pages of stats we want to share with you. We don't want to bore you, but we thought that that would help you get real estate smart. If you have any questions or have any other subjects you want us to go over, please feel free to IM us. Take care.
Have a great day.